Welcome to lesson 131 of algebraic concepts, or 2131 overall, factoring by grouping. So here is our objective, our vocabulary, some rules and notes. So please take the time to pause the video at each thing and read through so that you can get a better and deeper understanding of what we're going through on this particular video. This video is in a series of videos dealing with factoring, polynomials and polynomials. So if I move too fast in this video, please watch some of the earlier videos as I go through them. So let's get into it. Okay, so let's look at our first example. What I want you to first do whenever you see any type of grouping, so when you see these parentheses, anything inside of a parentheses makes a group. Let's put this in a different color. Or brackets or braces. Whenever we see a negative sign outside of these groups, the first thing I want you to do is put a 1 here. And if we factor out what's common, is the binomial x minus 5, we will see that 2x minus 1 is left, because 2x is outside of this x minus 5 and negative 1 is outside of that. And you might say, Mr. Walls, prove it. So let's prove it. I'm going to distribute the 2x and the negative 1. So 2x times x is 2x squared. 2x times minus 5 is negative 10x. Negative 1 times x is negative 1x. Negative 1 times negative 5 is positive 5. And as you can see, we get 2x squared minus 11x plus 5. Okay. Now, if we FOIL first outers, inners, and then our last, the factored terms, this is two binomials. If we FOIL it, if we multiply it back, you get the first is 2x squared, the outers is minus 1x, the inners is minus 10x, and the last is plus 5. You can see that we get the same thing. Okay, factor by grouping. Now, this may not look very similar in your minds, and you may not know how to start. But if I was you, I would just put a parenthesis around the first two terms and a parenthesis around the second two terms. And let's see if we can find anything that is common. 12 and 16 both have 4 as a factor. So we can pull out a 4a squared and be left with 12 divided by 4 is 3a plus 4b. And if we distribute that 4a back inside, that's what we'll get. Okay, so what can we factor out of the second term? Well, 9 and 12 both have 3 as a factor. So what if we pull out a 3b squared? So plus 3b squared, divide 9 by 3 gives us 3a, and divide 12 by 3, we get 4, and then b cubed divided by b squared is just left with a b, and that's what we have. And look at this. They both have a 3a plus 4b. So now we got 4a squared plus 3b squared. We can see that these terms are not alike. So what if we put them in their own parenthesis? And then 3a plus 4b. As you can see, everything, the 4a squared is multiplied to the 3a plus 4b, and so is the 3b squared. And because they are multiplied, we can separate the terms that are underlined in blue. We can put them together and then multiply them to the binomial 3a plus 4b. So that's what we did. We grouped it, we pulled out what was it like in the first group and what was it like in the second group, and then we found that there was a common term, and then we factored that. Sometimes these always won't be easy to see. Sometimes you're going to have to mess around, switch terms around, and all of that. And we just got lucky by looking at the terms and the way we factored it. Okay, so again, you got a bunch of R's and then the common term. So I see a 2 and a 2. And if I just group these, let's see if I can find anything that is similar. What if I pull out a 2 and I'm left with R to the 4th plus 1? And then what's common in the second term? R squared 1 plus 4R. There's nothing alike. So you might say, well, this doesn't work. We may have to regroup these terms. Okay, so let me erase all of this because there was no common binomial terms. All right, so now let's move some terms around. What if we put, let me erase that just to get rid of that parentheses. What if we put the R to the 5th and the 4R together? All right, so let's see. 2R to the 5th plus 4R cubed plus R squared plus 2. Okay, now we're going to group these two terms together and let's see if we have anything that works. So if we pull out a 2 and an R cubed, we're left with R squared plus 2. Oh, look at that. 2 divided by 2 is 1. R to the 5th divided by R cubed is R squared. Okay, that works. 4 divided by 2 is 2. R cubed divided by R cubed is 1 plus. Now remember, even with a positive, put a 1 on the outside. And now we have two binomials that are the same, R squared plus 2. So now we can put everything together. So these are the terms that are not alike, so they go together. Multiplied again to, since they were both multiplied to the same binomial, we can combine the underlined red terms together. So there you go. Sometimes you're just going to have to switch things around and see if you get something. So those were our examples. Like always, work on the practice problems, and I will see you at the end of the video for a short recap. Okay, so let's look at our first practice problem here. We see a plus outside of a group. What I want you to do is put the 1 in there, and you can see that P minus 2Q is the same. So if we factor out the P and the plus 1, we get P plus 1, and both of these terms are multiplied to the binomial P minus 2Q. And there you go. And that's your answer. Okay, the second term. A minus B is common. 3C plus 2D are both multiplied to A minus B. Okay, so let's see what we can do here. We have an x cubed and an x squared. So if I pull out an x squared, so I'll take these terms and take these terms and group them. If I pull out an x squared, I get x cubed divided by x squared is x. 7x squared divided by x squared leaves me with a 7 plus 1, x minus 7. You can see they both have an x minus 7. So if I take x squared plus 1 and an x minus 7, I have two binomials. And finally, okay. All right, so we got our y cubed and our y squared. What can we take out? We can take out a 2, and we can take out a y squared. If we put this together and this together, and let's see what we have. 4 divided by 2 leaves 2. Y cubed divided by y squared is y. 10 divided by 2 is 5. Y squared divided by 5 is y. Okay, so let's add our next term. What do we have in common? 2 doesn't go into 15. 3 goes in 2y. Okay. The 6 doesn't go into 15. So if I pulled out a 3, I get 2y plus 15 divided by 3 is 5. So I had to think about factors of everything. And look at that. 2y plus 5 is our common binomial. And then I just put the 2y squared plus 3 together along with the 2y plus 5. And these are our two binomials that we get. So that's the end of this video. Factor by grouping. Like I said, if I moved a little bit too quickly, please watch some of the earlier videos in this series dealing with polynomials, grouping, trinomials, special cases, binomials. Please watch them and come back to this video. Thank you for this video. Thank you for watching. I hope that you will watch the next video, which will be factoring completely. I think there are 2 more lessons left in dealing with polynomials and factoring.